And we're live. What's going on, y'all? It's Logan, man. It's EJ. Welcome back to SwampCast, baby. We have a loaded, loaded up today, obviously, with the John Sumrall era officially starting in Gainesville, and of course FSU game, conference championship week, other hirings that have happened across college football. Like 5 people have been hired today. It's in fired as well. I just saw that Michigan State fired their guy, Jonathan Smith. So a lot of stuff's going on right now, man. One of the craziest, and of course everything that went on with Lane Kiffin. Stuff is insane. We'll dive into all of it. EJ, how are you feeling, man?
Yo, Gator Nation, it just feels good to beat FSU, right? Can we start there? Some positivity on this Sunday. Um, Other than that, man, this coaching carousel, we got to talk about it, man. Um, man, this is the stories we're hearing are wild, right? But hopefully everyone had a good Thanksgiving. We're going to dive into this new coaching era, the Sumrall era at UF.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and dive into it, man. So obviously we wanted Lane Kiffin. Everybody in Gainesville wanted Lane Kiffin, but I guess what happened? This is just kind of the rumblings that I've heard, EJ. Lane Kiffin was not giving an obvious answer to anyone until literally late last night. Um, I mean, it was, obviously Florida, after they fired Billy Napier, were like, okay, we're going after Kiffin. We were in the running for Kiffin. Kiffin would have probably came to Florida. I still think, honestly, he would have come to Florida if we didn't do what we did, and we'll get into that. Um, and then LSU fires Brian Kelly. Then they put their name in the mix, and it just causes all this chaos. Ole Miss fans start freaking out as a whole entire thing. Now, leading up to the Egg Bowl, the Florida Gators wanted an answer by the end, or really by the Egg Bowl, that Lane Kiffin, what he was doing. Is he coming to Florida? Is he going to LSU? Is he staying in Ole Miss? What is he doing? Lane Kiffin didn't give an answer. His camp was just wanting to kind of extend everything, elongate everything, and Gary Condon, which is like our main booster for the University of Florida in the athletic department. I mean, his last name's on the baseball field. He didn't like that. He wanted a very straight up answer. A lot of the boosters wanted these straight up answers. Yes, yeah, we'll get into that in a bit, Henry, for sure, man. And we didn't like that, and so we basically took our name out, and I heard people, EJ, talk about how a message board post is what caused everything, and that's exactly what did happen. I didn't know what the message board post was. I dove into it. It was Gary and other boosters saying that, yeah, Lane Kiffin's out. Apparently, the Lane Kiffin, team and their entire group didn't even know that they were out until they saw that message board post, and so they were kind of shocked by that. And so they just were like, all right, screw it. We're out of this thing. So it was just kind of an impatient thing that came from the boosters of the University of Florida. Do I blame them? No, because what if we did wait until Sunday and Auburn takes John Sumrall? Because that was another thing, right? The reason we wanted to know by the Egg Bowl is Auburn was wanting John Sumrall, was in heavy negotiations to get him as the head coach. And that was our number 2 guy. We wanted him really, really bad. As you guys know, my number 2 guy was Jed Fish from Washington, but John Sumrall was my second fallback if we couldn't get Jed. And so because of that time frame, Auburn really pushing for John Sumrall and Lane Kiffin not giving an answer and no one really knowing what he was doing and him giving all these mixed signals to every team involved, the Gators were like, all right, we're going to just take a step back, whatever. If he wants to come to us, that's fine, but we're shifting our entire attention to John Sumrall, and that's kind of how that went down. If the Gators stayed in contact with Lane Kiffin and kept pushing it, I think we might have got him. I truly do. He left Ole Miss. I think he would have came to Florida over LSU. But once again, we got a little impatient, and I don't really blame them. I mean, I think the University of Florida wants to be in they want to be in the driver's seat for these kind of situations, EJ. And I think Lane Kiffin wants to be in the driver's seat for these situations. And honestly, I don't blame the boosters in that situation. I mean, you need to know who you're going to get because there's already a time crunch coming up with the transfer portal and all these things going on in college football. I don't blame the boosters for wanting to move on. And then that's why we landed with John Sumrall. even after the whole thing a couple weeks back of being like, hey, they're meeting with John Sumrall. Oh wait, they're not meeting. John Sumrall pulled his name from the thing. It just became a whole thing. Before we dive into John Sumrall and how we feel about this hire and his history and everything regarding him, EJ, what did you hear? Did you hear something similar to that? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, no, you summed it up perfectly. I mean, here's the deal. This Gary guy, big time booster, $20 million a year. 2 years from now, he's either going to be the dumbest person in the world or the smartest person in the world. That's just pretty much how it's going to go, right? He he's the one that pretty much, presumably, based on what people are saying, gave the ultimatum, like you said, that hey, no, you got to choose by the egg bowl lane, or we're going to our next guy. And the reason they're going to Sumrall is because a couple of things. Number one, Sumrall was the second best option that everybody else wanted if Lane Kiffin didn't choose them. You don't want to miss out on your second best option, right? Auburn really, really, really wanted him, and they were pressuring Sumrall to make a decision as well. I believe Sumrall's wife, Jeannie, went to Auburn, so it has a special place in their family's heart. So they wanted to potentially go there. But Sumrall felt that Florida was a better option for him in terms of being able to come in and win and being able to retain a lot of talent in state and make a lot of the things happen that Billy Napier wasn't able to do. And, we agree with that. So I think all of that is pretty much what happened. The crazy thing that's going on right now is the situation with Lane Kiffin. I mean, has he picked what he's doing yet? Have you seen, Logan?
Yeah. He's going to LSU.
But has he come out and said, "Hey, I'm going to LSU. I'm not staying at Ole Miss"?
Not officially, but there's already rumors spouting out about him saying, "Hey, if you guys he gave his staff an ultimatum." Did you see that?
Yeah.
On hey, you need to, if you don't come with me today to go down to Baton Rouge, then you're not going to be part of the staff, and you're not going to come along, whatever. So no, he hasn't officially come out and said anything, but I mean it's
Yeah, just to touch on that, I mean, we did want Lane Kiffin. I mean, but if you want the drama, if you want the queen, you gotta get the drama too, right? And that's pretty much what LSU's paying for. I don't know what the contract is, but if I'm LSU, since Florida's out, Ole Miss is out, if I'm LSU, I'm like, hey, why the hell do we have to pay you $16 million now? The only reason they were paying $16 million because I think he genuinely was 50-50 on whether or not he wanted to come to us or LSU. So if I'm LSU, I'm decreasing the contract at this point. Like, why the hell not? The other thing is, it's like domestic violence. I feel bad for the Ole Miss fans. It's like they're getting slapped around by Lane Kiffin, and they're about to go into the playoffs, and they don't have a coach. I mean, it's crazy. And Lane Kiffin is saying, well, I want to coach throughout the playoffs. How the hell do you coach throughout the playoffs if you're the head coach at LSU? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just so much craziness going on. And it sort of impacts us because Sumrall, as you all know, has a lot of Louisiana ties, being the Tulane head coach. Maybe he would want to poach some of those LSU players. Some of these players are going to end up on different rosters. So the players not knowing what next year holds plays into their decision as to where they want to go play next year, right? And so the teams that have things in place are going to get a head start on that. And at least we got Sumrall now. We can move forward with him. I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, he's not these Gator fans freaking out. I don't understand that. He's not a bad hire. Is it a home run hire? No, it's not a splash hire by any means. But Henry brought up something. He said, I like what Sumrall said. His first ever just, quote on the Florida Gator head coaching job was he said that he wants to hire an elite OC. He says he knows how much offense means to the University of Florida and that it isn't optional and it's mandatory. And I really, really like that because before he said that, EJ, I was sitting there and I was like, man, and actually you sent me that video that I kind of took from earlier on some talking points of all, the boosters talking and some insiders talking. And that was the whole Gary thing. They also mentioned that they told him, where did he say that? I don't know exactly where he said it, but it's everywhere. It is in.
Wait, who said what?
Nicholas said, where did he say that? I think he's talking about where did he say that, at the University of Florida, you need an elite OC. I don't know where exactly, where the quote came from, but I mean, it's a legitimate quote, for sure by the people that are posting it. So what I was worried about is I was like, oh man, he's probably going to bring over his offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator from Tulane. And I didn't like that at all because number one, the OC for Tulane is Joe, I think Craddock. This dude was an offensive coordinator at Arkansas back in 2000, and I think like 17 and 18 or 19 with Chad Morris. That didn't go very well. His offenses were in the 100s in the SEC level, so I was worried about that. And the defensive coordinator, Greg Gasparotto, has not been a DC at any level above, group of five. And so that's why I'm like, okay, I'm glad. I was really worried that he was going to bring both those guys over. The good news from what I'm hearing from the insider stuff that EJ sent me and just from people in general is, and what he said in that quote as well, is that he's not going to bring over those guys. He's going to hire an entire new staff and bring over these elite coordinators at the Power 5 or Power 4 level. One that's getting thrown out there for DC is Blake Baker. I'm not big on that personally. I don't mind him, but I mean, in my opinion, I think he's a step above Ron Roberts. At least he's a very interesting defense, right? It's not the same old, too high nickel look that we're going to see every game. So it's something different, and he's a good DC, but I don't really know if I want to take Blake Baker. But the point is that he's going to go for a lot of these big time coordinators. So I'm not really too worried about that. So I agree, EJ. I don't understand outrage. We didn't get Lane Kiffin. Who else were we going to get? That's my question. Who else are we going to get? There's really not many options out there. The big negative thing you have to look at is and this is kind of the only negative thing is, there hasn't been a lot of group of 5 coaches that have performed very well at Power 4 schools as a head coach. There just hasn't. And I mean, the only one you can really kind of point toward is Mike Norvell, but look what's going on with FSU, right? So that's the scary thing is there's not a lot of proven stuff there. Usually it's hiring different coordinators. But I'm going to get into in a minute here into all just John Sumrall's history, who he is. I didn't know that about his wife, EJ, which is so weird that he didn't go to Auburn because Auburn probably was offering around the same per year, right? We were paying him 7.5.
And the thing is, the Auburn fans wanted him. They were all on board with Sumrall, and then you can see our fans, we don't want him. He's G5, and it's like, but that's the thing, and we knew to expect that with the Florida fan base. If it wasn't going to be Kiffin, our fans were going to explode and say things. Well, we hate you, John Sumrall, and all this kind of stuff, or they would have hated anyone. So we just need to pick someone and move on. It's not Kiffin. It should have been Kiffin. I think Kiffin wanted to come here.
Oh yeah.
But it's not Kiffin. So we got to pick someone and move on. Now, the reason I'm pissed is because look at my top 3. It was Kiffin, Franklin, Golish. We didn't get any one of them. So Auburn got Golish. Virginia Tech got Franklin. Now, the reason why I wanted either of these 3 is because they each have a distinct coaching identity that is visible on the field, right? With Golish, spread offense, very similar to Tennessee. Lane Kiffin, explosive offense, very similar to what we all see that right now with what he's doing at Ole Miss. With Franklin, it was going to be talent. Just if you can load the roster with talent, you can be a boneheaded coach and still win a lot of games. But I still think he's a really good coach that gets good coordinators. since we didn't get either one of those three, we now have Sumrall. I think the advantage of getting Sumrall that a lot of people need to understand is the disadvantage with Lane is we would have no control. We would basically, he'd basically be a king, right? He
Yeah,
wouldn't be president where you have checks and balances. With Sumrall, there are some checks and balances that you could put in place. We could say, hey, you have to get a offensive coordinator that has a lot of experience at this level. You have not coached at in the SEC, you haven't coached in the Power 4. You got to go get coordinators that can, you know, complement your weaknesses. They also can pay him a hell of a lot less. If Lane Kiffin gets $15 million a year, we're paying Summerall 50% of that, and that money could be used to go and get better players
for the
instead
NIL.
of
Yeah,
instead of paying a coach. So and NIL. So maybe that went into the equation as well. So because I think we're paying him what seven and a half
seven and a
million,
half over 6 years. Yeah,
which is that's 100%, 150% raise from what he's getting right now at Tulane.
yeah.
So I there are positives to this that I think we've got to consider.
For sure. And Chris said, well, you guys are missing the whole NIL. How many fans stopped putting in the pot because of this hire? That's the thing. If Florida, and this is why I think fans are pissed and emotional because they deserve to be. Because here's the thing. If the University of Florida whiffs on this hire, we become Nebraska. And that's a scary realization that people need. I mean, when has Florida been relevant? What, 2020? We won a couple of New Year's Six Bowls. But, like, other than that, we have been a horrible program since 2010, 2009. We have. And I think fans don't like to come to that realization, but that's reality here. So this hire has to work, at least on some level. We have to be a consistent playoff berth team. There's no other route to go. And there's no other way for it to be. So we I think as a fan base, we have to get behind John Summerall. As a fan base, we have to, even monetarily, we have to put money into this guy, put money in the NIL, because if we don't, the program's going to be in an even worse place. Guys like Lane Kiffin aren't going to want to come to the University of Florida anymore because we're not relevant. You know what I mean? And we're already kind of, playing with that fire a little bit, EJ, and that's one thing that's a little scary. Yeah, UF is one of the best brands in the SEC. I get it, but still, I mean, it gets to a point where if there's another 4 years of going 7-5, you know what I mean, 8-4, the Gators are I don't. What's your opinion on that, DJ? I think the Gators are we're irrelevant at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, brands do have value, but at the end of the day, 50% of it is your history, and the other 50% is your current perception, right? And so historically, we are a good brand, right? We one of the top universities, we have a huge endowment, we have a history of winning championships. But when it comes to is that history of 20 years ago, because let's be honest, next year is 2006, 2026. It'll be 20 years since that 2006 national championship and 18 years since the 2008 one. And when you get to 18 years, that means the current high school seniors, okay, weren't even born the last time we won a championship or were mentioned in the top three, top four. This is a team, this is a program. We won titles back when you had the BCS. Half the people in college aren't even alive when we had the BCS. That started in 1998. So we have allowed programs like Georgia to surmount us in brand value, name. Texas A&M, programs that haven't even freaking won a SEC championship. Texas A&M has never been to the SEC championship game. They had one chance, blew that. Okay, you couldn't even beat Texas. We beat Texas for crying out loud. Um, and Texas, in terms of brand value, is probably higher ranked than we are. So we have got to win games for us to now become one of those top three or four brands again in college football, which right now, what are the top four? What are the top five? Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, probably Michigan, and then you probably throw in LSU just because they are one of the last teams not named one of those teams to win it too. So we're not in the top five. Some people would say we're probably not even in the top 10. Why? Because we go to Kentucky and get beat like we're an FCS school. so so we have to just start winning games. And let me tell you, if we start winning games and start to put together a string of 2 to 3 years where we're winning 10 games, we're challenging for the SEC championship, we're in Atlanta, we're beating Alabama, we're actually beating Georgia. Can we beat Georgia once? We haven't beaten Georgia. We beat Georgia one time in the last 10 damn years. Can we beat Georgia once? That is how we get up there. Now, a lot of other people will say, "Well, you can't do that because you didn't hire Lane Kiffin. You don't hire a good coach." Well, hell, I can't control that. We wanted Kiffin, didn't happen.
Yeah, 100%. You brought up a great point. Is it Trant or who said it? Yeah, I think it's Trant that said it.
All right, that's Tommy.
Oh, this is Tommy. Yo, what's going on, man? Yo, Tommy, I remember Tommy.
Yeah, you remember
Yeah,
Tommy?
Tommy's cool. Tommy, it's a great point, man. We start off the year with Florida Atlantic and the Campbell Camels. We're playing a team named after camels the second week. So those are two easy ramp up games for John Sumrall to get his guys ready. I totally agree. It's perfect, and that's one thing about Napier, right? His first 3 years, dude, he started with there wasn't easy games. You know what I mean? Bro got thrown into the fire with Utah to start out. It was brutal, and then Miami. And so John Sumrall has a nice little easy ramp up, and so that is definitely a really good sign there. The SEC schedule isn't really bad at all either. We obviously have FSU as our out of conference Power 4 school. We have at Auburn, Georgia, of course, but we have Oklahoma at home, Ole Miss at home, South Carolina at home, Vanderbilt at home, and then we have at Kentucky, at Missouri, at Texas for next year. So we have a lot of home games this next year. We talked about that, EJ, on how every other year you're either screwed because we have way more away games because of that Georgia game, or we have a lot of home games, and we have a lot of home games this upcoming season, EJ. So that is absolutely massive.
The even years are better for Florida because the Georgia game is considered a road game on the even years, which means we have 4 SEC games at home, a neutral site game, and only 3 true SEC road games on the road. Now, next year, you get this funky SEC schedule because you got 9 games now. So every other year, you got 5 games at home, 4 games on the road. So, hello, people, the years that people have 5 home games and 4 road games, they're going to have an advantage over teams who've got 5 road games and 4 home games. But at least we got the Georgia, and the odd years were screwed because we only get 3 games at home. Because you got 6 games away from the swamp and 3 home games on the odd years. It's one of the reasons we've never won a national championship on the odd years, because you're playing too many freaking road games. So that's going to be something that's going to play into it for the favorability of the schedule next year, is more home games.
Yep, 100%, 100%. So yeah, you brought up a great point there. You said don't sleep on FAU. Them and USF have a good rivalry. Yeah, that's the thing about FAU though, dude. They went 4-8 this year. They're absolute trash. They're gonna be trash next year. So that it is a really nice ramp up. That is.
Wait,
funny.
didn't I send you that 2015 video of how we beat FAU in overtime?
I was there for that, bro. Dude, I had my fluffy orange hair, bro, little afro, had my blue jumpsuit. Dude, I was right there in front of where it happened too, where Brian Poole knocked it away in overtime. We honestly should have beaten UGA's past 2 seasons. Anyone with yeah, because rich people can't get out of their feelings with competency. Yeah, I agree. I will get into a little bit with the SEC championship pick. I think Georgia is a little bit overrated. But anyway, let's get back to John Sumrall. So he's 43 years old, young guy. We offered him a 6-year, $7.5 million salary. with major incentives for college football playoff bursts, which I think is awesome, right? I think we're paying Napier 7.4 a year, if I'm not mistaken. But I know we're paying Sumrall 7.5 with, I'm
Yep.
sure, big incentives with when it comes to NIL as well, I'm hoping. Now, I think that's the way to do it. Pay a coach, not a crazy salary, and then be like, yo, if you make the playoff, you get $1 million. If you win, a playoff game, you get him $2 million. Like,
Exactly. Earn your 16 million.
exactly.
Yes.
And so that's why with the whole, that's the big, listen, like I said, we both would have want Kiffin, but that's the big negative with having him is, he doesn't have those incentives. There's not really that want because you're already paying the bro $15 million a year, with $25 million in NIL, which is leading the country. So I think we still need to dump a lot of money into Sumrall, though, because like I said, I think this is kind of a do or die situation for the University of Florida at this point. But anyways, so that's all we really know. We don't know all the exact specifics on the major incentives, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Here's the thing. I think a big thing that people are freaking out about, EJ, when it comes to John Sumrall is they're looking at, because he's a defensive coach, right? He helped be a defensive coordinator at Tulane for a little bit, was a defensive coordinator also at Kentucky in 2021, which he was solid, but he's not like this unbelievable crazy defensive mind. You know what I mean? And people are like, oh, well, he's a defensive coach, he should be good at that. Number one, he averages the number 23rd defense in the country as a head coach. This is defenses at Troy and at Tulane, so keep that in mind. Another big thing is he's more of a CEO guy, and I know it's going to scare a lot of people when I say that, but he's not calling plays. You know what I mean? He likes to oversee the organization. You could tell he sees it from a structural point of view. He's not over here calling plays like Napier. If Napier was a CEO kind of guy, I think he would have been a very successful head coach. But no, he's not. He wanted to call plays, even though he got fired from 2 previous spots. So we saw that from the get-go that might have been a problem, EJ, and he never adapted to that. What's great about John Sumrall is he knows how to build a great staff around him no matter where he is. He hasn't really had too much of a different staff when it comes to him being a head coach in his 4 years that he's been a head coach. He literally brought over his people from Troy to Tulane as offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. But at least he knows what works, and he knows how to build a lot of successful guys around him. He's not an insane recruiter. That's probably the other big negative thing I do have with him. But I mean, in all 4 of his years as a head coach, he's been unbelievable. I have it right here. His first, when he got to Troy, they had 3 straight seasons of 5 wins. He brings them to, I think he wins a Sun Belt championship and goes 12-2 his first season with them, which is unbelievable. Second year they go 11-2 because he left right before the bowl game. So he could have got them to 12-2 again that year, which he did unbelievable. Then leaves to go to Tulane. Takes over already a really good program with Willie Fritz, I think leaving to go to Houston, right? Comes in, leads them to a 9-5 season, losing to the bowl game to the University of Florida, the Gasparilla Bowl. But then, they're 10-2 right now, cooking for a college football playoff spot if they beat North Texas this weekend in the, I believe, is it the AAC? What is Tulane in? I think so, right?
AAC.
Athletic, American Athletic. So he's doing a lot of great things here. He's a program builder. Every place that he's been to, he's found success early on, which I think is great with, when it comes to this program at the University of Florida. Because you don't need, listen, we're going to have a lot of guys leave in the transfer portal. I get that. Hopefully we can keep some key guys like Ball. We'll see what happens, especially after that performance. But I do think that this is a program you can come into and you can win right away. And that's something that you guys were talking about earlier on how, who was it? You were talking about how, best brand. Yeah, I know Chris was talking about it earlier on how, that UF is one of the best brands in the SEC and all that. I think the big advantage about having a great brand is the fact that you can win right away and get talent there. So I think that if he can, attack this portal really, really hard, if he can get some of these we've had 0 decommits, by the way, from this upcoming class for the University of Florida. I'm sure we'll have a few now, but if we can keep the majority of that class, the heart of that class, add to it a little bit, attack the portal really hard, I think John and make some really good coordinator hires, I think John Sumrall is going to be amazing. He already has coaching experience in the SEC. I don't like that he's a graduate from Kentucky. I hate Kentucky, but he did play as a linebacker for Kentucky back in like 2002, 2004, I think. So that's 21 years ago. And I was pretty successful there. So he knows what it's like to play in the SEC. He, understands that, understands the brand of the Gators as well because he's been around that. And so, and once again, knows how. Well, here's people were talking about how we should have gotten Bob Chesney or whatever from James Madison. Like, if we're going group of 5, let's go for him. The reason that I think John Sumrall is a way better grab than him is because Chesney's only had 1 year of coaching experience in the at the I think at D1. I think before that he was at Holy Cross. And so, like, why go after him? He's been successful only at one school, even though James Madison is, I believe, number 20 in the country. This guy has rebuilt 2 programs now, and people compare him to Billy Napier too. I understand the similarities, but he's rebuilt 2 programs. Billy Napier only rebuilt 1 in Louisiana, so you got to realize that as well. This guy also has had instant success every single place that he's been. I think it's a way better hire than Napier. I think this guy's a way better hire than Chesney. Way better hire, in my opinion, than Alex Golesh as well. Even though Alex Golesh does bring a lot of that really fun offense, I think that this guy has just had even more success at 2 separate programs, and I really, really respect that. I also love the fire that this guy has. This guy brings. I mean, he's fun. He puts players first. He has energy that Billy Napier. I'm tired of. Well, we gotta execute, right? I'm tired of that.
Yeah,
I'm ready for some fire in this program, and I think that the reason you look at DJ Lagway, we talked about this, CJ. DJ Lagway is on the sideline, just sitting there, not really showing a lot of energy. I think that stems from Billy Napier. I think that stems from your head coach, and I think if John Sumrall can come in here, bring the energy, I think it's going to spread like a wildfire across this entire organization. I think it could be a great thing for the University of Florida. I think that's another great aspect about hiring John Sumrall. So that's just my opinion about him. I think this is a good hire. Is it a great hire? No. Was he in my top 3 originally? No. But Lincoln Riley didn't want to come to Florida. I mean, it wasn't going to happen. I think that this was a really good pick here for some. That's at least what I heard. I think this was a great hire. I'm happy with this, and those are the reasons why.
Yeah, and I think it's a good hire. I mean, of all of the other programs that needed a head coach, Sumrall was the second option behind Lane Kiffin. We're not getting Kiffin. Why? I don't know. The story's going to come out. Are we dysfunctional? Is Scott Strickland bad at his job? Is this booster named Gary a complete jerk? Who knows? We can't control that. The only thing we know is Sumrall's the guy. A couple things, just so we get to know him a little bit better. We did some research on the guy. So yeah, he's 43 years old. July 5th is his birthday, 1982. Huntsville, Alabama is his hometown. I'm from Alabama. There we go. I was born in Dothan, Alabama. The thing I like about Sumrall, he also has a coaching history in San Diego, where I am right now. He coached defensive line and was co-defensive coordinator for University of San Diego. John and Jeannie Sumrall, his wife, they serve as official ambassadors for Son of a Saint, a New Orleans organization that mentors fatherless boys. Like, this is a great guy. Jeannie is CEO of Life to Be Free and spent 25 years at UPS in senior management. So she knows logistics. This is a great family. I love them already. Here's the deal. People say, well, he's a defensive guy. We got to have an offensive guy. I agree. We do. We've sucked on offense so long. We're traumatized. We need an offensive guy. But here's the deal. Defense wins championships. Y'all ever heard that? Look at the last champions. Harbaugh, defensive guy. Ryan Day was a champion, but who was Kirby Smart? Defensive guy. Nick Saban, defensive guy. So, if you can get a really good offensive coordinator to complement your defensive inclinations, which is going to be huge. We're going to talk about some of the offensive coordinator candidates here, in a second. But if he can find a good defensive coordinator and a good offensive coordinator, I like our chances. Now,
Nicholas
I saw in
said
the
that.
comments.
Oh yeah, is that what you're gonna bring up too? Okay.
Wait, I saw in the comments someone said, we scored 27 against Charlotte. Well, I remember the Florida game, we scored 22 against Charlotte. So with with more blue chip players on our roster than players on the Charlotte roster, and we scored 22 on them. So I'll take 27 to 22 any day.
Well, also Nicholas said that Chad Thomas said Lincoln Riley was interested and did reach out. I didn't see that. I've heard that that wasn't gonna happen at all. But
Well, I
if
think
that is the case, then that's insane, man.
yeah, I think that's Lincoln Riley has reportedly wanted to get out, and Florida is the best option, but it's a hard stop from the boosters at Florida because they're not paying the $90 million buyout, is what I was told. Now, uh, Lincoln Riley probably could have pulled a Dan Mullen, and gotten fired and just completely quit. But he's not that type of person. I do think that next year he will be the Lane Kiffin type of candidate that everyone's going to be clamoring for. And Florida State, who knows? They'll be looking for someone. But a couple other things. Oh,
that
wait,
no,
go
you're
ahead.
good. Everyone's just saying that Lincoln's team did reach out. So that's it. So how that's my question on how does that work, right? Like, would Lincoln Riley have to step down, not get any? Because you can do that, right? Could he step down, not get paid anything, and then just go to University of Florida, or does USC
No,
have to let him
the
go?
the
Like you're,
contract is like non-compete. So
yeah.
if he
Then
were to
why
resign,
why the hell are we? I'm not paying that. That's crazy.
if
Yeah,
he
that
were to
I'm sorry.
resign
That's insane.
and take another major FBS job within a calendar year, you would owe the buyout.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
that's
not
how
paying
the
no buyout.
contract's written.
That come on,
So,
guys. I mean, listen,
I mean,
I think Lincoln Riley's great, EJ, but would you pay that buyout? I'm not paying 90 million.
yeah, we're not paying 80 million, guys. We don't have 80 million. Who has $80 million? And
It's
people are
insane.
talking like monopoly money. Oh yeah, we can get it. We're UF. If we can get it, we could have paid Lane Kiffin a hell of a lot more, and we didn't have that. So apparently LSU's got all this money hidden away in the freaking bayou somewhere. So who knows? I think at the end of the day, um, as much as I want to dwell on who we should have gotten, because like I said, we have our videos of our top five. Sumrall was never in our top five. He was like at the bottom, you know, Franklin, Golish, Kiffin, Brom, all these people were, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, a couple other things about Sumrall. Okay. I like this. He's got this coaching philosophy. We looked it up. It's called ATDL. Attitude. I got a quote for each one of these. We may have bad moments, but we don't have any bad days. We got life pretty damn good. So you got to have a good attitude. That's the most important thing. When you show up every single day, don't remember all the bad things. Just have a good attitude, positive look at the, positive things. Toughness, mental and physical toughness, non-negotiable for Sumrall. Discipline. Discipline is not something that somebody does to you, it's something you do for yourself. It's your investment in the future. And love. Love always demands sacrifice. So that's his core values. Um, and hey, we have a coach now. We can, and we're not going to a bowl game. So we can 100% just dive into how do we make the program as good as it can be.
You know who else isn't going to a bowl game, EJ? Florida State. um, but
Oh,
no. We have 490 million to renovate the stadium, but nobody. Okay, yeah, I understand, but Lincoln Riley, I think he'd be a great coach at the University of Florida. But is he worth putting 80 million in? No, I don't think so at all. If you won a few national championships, then yeah, I think all right, then you think about it. But he hasn't.
and why does Lane? I mean, listen. Is that Rob? I think Rob. We agree with you. Like, if we didn't get Lane Kiffin, and then the next guy that we were told we were getting was Lincoln Riley, um, we would all been like ecstatic.
Yep.
We would all been really, really happy. We love Lincoln Riley's a great coach. It's just the economics of it. It's almost like, you know, I want to buy a new car. Okay. Well, you can only buy what you can afford, right? If I can't afford, and then the 490 million, that is financed. We don't just have $490 million sitting around somewhere. We have to go take out a huge ass loan of $500 million and hope that the annual revenue generated by football operations can cover the annual payments on the $490 million renovation. So that's where we get that money from. We don't just have it sitting around somewhere.
I love this comment by Giovanni. Just came in here and said we're fucked for years to come. I love the optimism, brother. I love it. But we won't get Sumrall until Tulane is put out of the playoffs. Of course, y'all know Tulane could possibly in the playoff, right? Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit too. That's a great point by Nicholas. So that window that's coming up, isn't that next week?
Yep.
Okay, so that is a little scary, right? How number one, I don't think I'll just admit right now, Tulane's not going to beat North Texas this weekend. I'm just saying that right now. I don't think Tulane goes to the playoff. I think North Texas goes and beats Tulane at Tulane. In my opinion, I think that offense is going to be too much for them. Also, too, I think that the team sees that John Sumrall is now hired. I think they're going to be, you know what I mean? They're not going to play like what they need to. That's just my opinion, EJ. I don't know about you. So I don't think they're going to go to the playoff. But if they do go to the playoff, how do you feel about that, right? Trying to balance both jobs like that's kind of tough.
Yeah, that is. I mean, Tulane is ranked 24th right now. North Texas is not even ranked, and they're 11-1. But North Texas is favored by 3. But if there's anything I've learned about the last few weeks of picks, pick who you think is going to win, and then pick the opposite. So, like we think North Texas is going to win, Tulane's winning that thing. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Mestamaker, the quarterback at North Texas, is having a think about this: 29 touchdowns, 4 interceptions for North Texas. When's the last time we had a quarterback with those kind of stats? I mean, insane. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I will tell you this: I think that if Sumrall is still coaching Tulane after next Saturday, it will be a significant disadvantage for us. And I think we'll have to figure out what's going to happen. Either way, I still think it'll be difficult for Tulane to make the playoffs because you have this entire ACC situation going where you've got Miami currently ranked in the playoffs, and you got the 2 ACC teams that are actually playing in the ACC championship game, not even in the rankings.
A 7-5 Duke team. It's insane.
Yeah. So it's like, well, how do you reconcile the ACC champion not being in the playoff? I think that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. It's kind of like this is why I like March Madness. In college basketball, you could suck all year, but if you win that conference championship tournament at the end of the year, your ass is going to March Madness. In the ACC, you're so terrible that your conference champion may not even make the freaking playoff. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's trash. Like, what the hell are we doing? How the hell is Duke going to the ACC? Anyway, that's terrible. I still think if Virginia wins that one, they're probably going, and that's going to knock out Tulane or North Texas. North Texas isn't even ranked.
Well, that's another thing I got, right, is, okay, so because it's the highest conference champion, right, for the group of 5. I know James Madison, I think, is ranked number 20, which is above Tulane, if I'm not mistaken. So won't they go above, right?
Yeah, so they would go. Wait, who does James Madison play in their championship game?
I have it written down right here. James Madison plays Troy. James Madison's going to win that game. Troy is 8-4. They're trash. They're not bad. I think, the line's 21.5 though for James Madison. So I think James Madison's going to win that. So wouldn't they go to they'll go to the playoff before?
Yeah, so if they're 20th ranked, then they would be They just got to beat Troy, and then they'd be in.
Okay, well, so then that's it right there. So there's a
So
really low chance that Tulane even goes.
yeah.
So we
Now,
don't
if
have to talk about
Tulane
that
wins
until
by like 40, okay,
yeah, that
then
ain't gonna
maybe we can
happen.
have a debate about who's going. But it'll probably be James Madison at this point.
Right? No, for sure. Um, all right. Why didn't we get the North Texas coach? Well, we threw
Well,
that name out there, but
Rob is saying ACC champion will be an automatic qualifier. That's not. I agree with it, but that's not how I interpret the how it's written. It doesn't say the champion is automatically in. It says the highest ranked champions. So if you're not even ranked and you're a champion, I don't that to me doesn't I don't know. We
no,
gotta look
it'll
that up.
no, it's the highest three. So it'll literally be the SEC champion, the Big 12 champion, especially if Texas Tech wins, and then Big 10, which Ohio State or Indiana. So yeah, those will be the three, and then you would have that fourth highest seed is just the next like highest out of the you know what I mean, the next highest ranked team. And so then after that it's all that. So I don't think it's just the ACC isn't even in the top three highest conference championship winners is what we're trying to say.
Right. Yeah. So that's what doesn't make a lot of sense because yeah, I mean they got rid of the whole seeding thing yet last year where the top four seeds were the conference champions. They at least got rid of that. But so okay, so I've looked this up. So they said that each of the power four plus one more get an automatic spot no matter what, according to NCAA. So, but then it words it the five highest ranked conference champions. So
Oh, I thought it was the highest three.
if Miami is this is what I don't understand. How do you have a conference champion that's ranked lower than Miami? Can somebody explain that to me? I guess conference standings, Duke, has only lost two conference games. Um, the four highest ranked teams overall, it does not matter if they won their conference or not, get seeds 1 through 4. Okay, so we understand that. Um, yeah, this is kind of interesting.
I mean, I don't know. LSU gets Kiffin, and we get some high school coach. I mean, look, bro, we kind of talked about that earlier. I think that it's not a bad hire at all, man. I think that when you look into it, and I don't know how much you've been watching on the stream, but if you want to go back, I think we're 47 minutes in now. We talk about it. I mean, there's really not much else to say about John Sumrall or Sumrall, not Sumrall. Trying to get
Yeah,
his
we
name
got to
right.
start spelling his name right.
Jeez,
Yeah.
John without an H. I'm not mad with this hire. I give this hire. What would you grade this
Yeah,
hire, EJ?
if you were to give it 1 out of 10, 10 being home run or A plus or whatever, A plus being a home run. I mean, what are you saying?
I mean,
I mean,
I say let's grade it off of like lettering. I like if I had to grade it, I'd give this hire a B. It's not bad. It's not great. I'm giving it a B. It's fine. I think there's way more potential here than what people are giving him because people
yeah,
are so traumatized from Billy Napier.
yeah,
And I understand this isn't a home run hire, but I'm taking this guy over really any other big coordinator in the country, in my opinion. This dude has head coaching experience.
yeah. I'd probably say I'd say it's a B plus. And the reason I say it's a B plus is because if Lane Kiffin was the A plus and then everybody else was taken, um, this guy was the second guy up, so I'd say B plus. Now, where I would give our recruitment, I would say our recruitment is a D because we sat around this entire time waiting for Kiffin, and then we screwed it up at the 12th hour. So whoever these idiots are that are running the show, they all get Fs because people will it was Scott Strickland. Well, how the hell do we know Scott Strickland? Here's the thing: when you're the CEO, you have people you have to still answer to. You're not making decisions unilaterally.
Boosters, really, yeah.
Boosters are like the board of directors. You have to get them on board with what your plan is. So we could fire Scott Strickland 100 times over. Whoever's in that seat, still has to go to the people who pay the money to hire these people and say, hey, Lane Kiffin's my number one. Here's our number two. Here's my number three. We got a recruiting firm. Are giving us the top five. They're at work. Here are the options. If we don't get this guy, we're going to go. And they work out the plan. They come up with all these contingencies. But Scott Strickland can't say we're hiring Sumrall without the boosters paying $20 million, writing $20 million a year checks. So until we change these $20 million check a year people out, which hell, we can't ever do that. It doesn't really matter who the AD is. Now we can, and at the end of the day, here's how I look at it. We all were pretty happy with Napier because remember when we hired Napier, we weren't happy with the result, but we were happy with the hire at the time.
And in my opinion, it was the correct hire because we didn't think he was going to call plays.
Every single one of y'all posting on X and wherever, Gator fan, I want to go see what y'all posted about Napier. Oh, welcome to the Swamp, Coach. You're our coach. We love you so much. You know why? Because he was the hottest name. LSU wanted him. Remember, Brian Kelly did not want to go to LSU. He wanted to come to Florida. We told him no. And we went and hired Napier. Now, we all wanted Napier to do well. We thought he was going to do well, and then he sucked. So maybe we all think Sumrall is going to suck, and he does well. But what I don't like is setting someone up to fail, because it's like this confirmation bias that we're going to have with this guy, which is like, we already think he's going to suck because he's not Lane Kiffin. And so one wrong play, one loss here, and we're ready to throw the guy out with the bathwater. So I don't know. I think we just need to. I would have wanted James Franklin. I know a lot of y'all are like, well, James Franklin lost so many games that he was coaching in the P5 for 5 or 12 years. Anyway, that's who my number two was, but Gator Nation didn't want him either. But that's the thing, Logan. We wouldn't want anyone. We wouldn't want anyone that's available. Like Lincoln Riley isn't going anywhere. He's going to be at USC next year.
That's what I'm saying. Out of the options, who else are we going to
get? No matter who we would have gotten, we would have had people bitching and complaining on the internet about how they don't want this guy if it's not Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
If it was Jed Fish, this guy is trash. He has a losing record.
Yep.
Who the hell is Jed Fish? And then if we would have hired, who's the other guy? Golish or Dillingham. I mean, they would have complained about anyone. So Sumrall, let's see who he hires as coordinators. I got a list of those options, by the way.
Oh yeah. Let's definitely dive into that. Tommy said Napier's downfall was he didn't hire the right elite coordinator. It's exactly what it is. And you're right, Tommy. He brought in his like friends that he's like cool with and stuff. And these are guys that are not successful really at they weren't even successful at the D2 and the FCS level. And we bring these guys in. And they don't know what they're doing, and that was definitely Billy Napier's fault, as he thought that his exact system that worked at Louisiana was going to work at the SEC level, when his system didn't even work when he was an offensive coordinator, when he got fired from Clemson, and he was not great at all, and went 5-6 as an offensive coordinator with Arizona State. So 100%, and you brought up a great point, EJ, before we get into this, your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator talk. I think I know we have to get behind John Sumrall. He's a young, energetic guy. If we put fuel into the fire, it's going to be amazing. It's good. Oh man, I think the energy is going to be great in Swamp. It's going to be great in Gator Nation. The schedule next year is it's doable. We could easily go. I mean, obviously we got to see what the coordinator situation is. But from what I'm hearing, they're going to go after elite guys. We can go 9-3 easy. 10-2, depending on who. Yep. We also just don't know who we have coming back. But before we get into the coordinator talk, EJ, do you truly believe that John Sumrall, because I think this is the big thing, do you think John Sumrall will win a national championship at the University of Florida within the next 4 years? And what chance do you think there is of that happening?
So the honest answer is I don't have a clue. Um, we are rolling the dice. Absolutely, we're rolling the dice with this guy. But I will tell you one thing. We will know after the conclusion of the first year. Even though most people say, well, we got to give the guy 1 year, we got to give the guy 2, 3 years. After the end of that first year, we will be able to all look at our football team and tell, can we send 11 guys out there on the damn kick return? Okay. Do we have a competent offensive system that is up with the times, that can actually score more than 20 points? We scored 40 against FSU. Why? Because we ran 3 plays: sweep left, sweep right, run up the middle. And FSU couldn't stop it. So if you got the Sumrall guy in and we go through a 12-game season and we see material improvement off of the disaster that we've been seeing the last couple of years, we see a recruiting that's in the top 10, right? We see him go out and make the hires on the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, bringing in some game changers through the portal. The most important thing that we need, if he can go out and get a quarterback, we got to talk about this whole DJ Lagway situation. Apparently he wants to come back. Who the hell knows how he's going to do next year? Sumrall, you'd have to be brain dead under a rock to be a worse quarterback coach than Billy Napier. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, can we have a good quarterback? And can we have a good defensive line? In college football, it's all about, do you have an elite quarterback and a defensive line that can put some heat on somebody? If you've got those two, and guess what? He's a defensive guy. Oh, and by the way, he was a defensive coordinator at Kentucky when they beat us in 2021. If anyone remembers that, I remember it. Mullen was the head coach. Okay, that was the block field goal or return field goal touchdown game or whatever that was. Sumrall was on Kentucky. Anyway, we will know after that first year if we're going to have a chance at it. If after the first year we look like we're trash and we're incompetent, we can't do anything, we can definitively say no, we're not winning it. And the other reason I know that is, look at Meyer. Meyer was a G5 coach. Are we forgetting that, people? People are using this whole correlation as causation, and they're saying, well, because you're a G5 coach, that causes you to be a disaster. No, it just means you were a terrible coach. You were a terrible hire. Mullen was in the Mountain West. Utah was a Mountain West team. Okay, then he became the Florida coach, and then he proceeded to go 9-3 his first year. You saw he took a talented team and immediately made them better overnight. And then his second year, they won the whole damn thing. I think if we can see a material improvement, I would say 8 wins. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on this guy. 8 wins is a lot, asking a lot. But if we can win at least 8 games next year in year one, I will say yes, he can win a national championship. And then I'm pissed LSU's not on the schedule anymore, because I want to go to Baton Rouge and I want to kick Lane Kiffin's ass. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Meyer also rebuilt 2 programs before he came to University of Florida in Bowling Green and Utah.
Yeah.
And then, came over. And yeah, Utah is not a big of a jump as like Tulane. I understand that this is a different era. I understand that, but it's just another line that you can draw, another thing you can point to, another data point you got to take into consideration. So I'm with you 100%, EJ. Point is, this is not a bad hire. Is it a great hire? No, I think it's a good hire. I think that fans need to get behind John Sumrall. I think they're going to be very, very surprised with what he does. And I do think that especially with the playoff, I think that he can, maybe not first year, but I do think that his second year we will be in the college football playoff. I truly stand by that. That's my prediction from here on. I got a weird feeling about this hire that it's going to work out. I'm not trying to jinx it. I'm just saying I feel very confident about this. I think this is good. I think after these coordinator hires, and we'll get into that, EJ, I think after his first introductory press conference, I think fans are going to go, I like this guy because he's going to bring that fire, and it's something different. That's the reason I think it's a good hire. It's something different. He has a different kind of energy, which is why we wanted Lane Kiffin. This guy also has energy. So if you want something different from that, more tame, stoic Billy Napier, this is the guy you want. That's my final stance on it. I think it's not a bad hire. I'm excited for it, man. John Sumrall, welcome to the Swamp. EJ, I know you want to talk about coordinators real quick.
Yeah, let's talk about. Wait, Rob Meyer went 13-0 and beat. No, that was Kyle Whittingham in 2009 that beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. Meyer's last bowl game with Utah was against Pittsburgh in the Fiesta Bowl in 2005. So, and Utah was technically a Mountain West team. So yeah, they did go undefeated under Meyer. I mean, Meyer's an elite coach. All I'm saying is, if you're going to correlate being a G5 coach with being terrible in the SEC, then you got to go back to our hiring history and say the same damn thing about Meyer, which that didn't translate. We hired an SEC coach in Dan Mullen, who we ran out. Now, that was actually a really good hire, hindsight 2020. We wanted the other Mississippi coach, couldn't get him. We hired Colorado State coach Jim McElwain, who was an offensive coordinator at Alabama. He turned out to be trash. We hired out Muschamp. Muschamp was never a head coach. He was a coordinator. He was supposed to be the Kirby Smart of Florida, but he turned out to never. He at least made some changes, but he never got an offense. So, and then we hired Billy Napier, who we all know how that has turned out. So I don't know. I just think a lot of G5 coaches are pretty much the only candidates that we can go after right now. If they're not named Lane Kiffin. I mean, the Memphis guys at Arkansas, the USF Golish, who I actually really like, is now at Auburn.
North Texas guys at Oklahoma State.
North Texas guy went to Oklahoma State. So all the Atlantic American athletic coaches are now at these major schools. And then Penn State still doesn't have a coach.
Which is, I'm really curious on that. From what I've heard, people are saying like Josh Pate talked about it, some other people talked about it, that there's a weird name out there that it's going to be a wild hire. And so I'm really curious on what the hell that's going to be about. I feel like they might go to the NFL to bring someone down. That's my guess.
I wouldn't mind that actually if I was them.
That's what I'm thinking. That's my final prediction for them. But EJ, I know you kind of want to hard out by 4. So if you just want to throw some of these coordinators before we do the conference picks.
Okay, some offensive line or offensive coordinator candidates that have been thrown out there. All right. Now, obviously, you talked about Joe Craddock, who's currently the Tulane offensive coordinator. Here's the thing. We've been hearing that, and this is one of the advantages of hiring Sumrall, is that with Napier, we told Napier, hey, we gave him basically the keys to do everything. And we didn't put enough controls in place for Napier to actually be better. We let him continue to call the plays, and that failed. With Sumrall, we're telling him going in, hey, you've got to hire elite coordinators. So I think that automatically rules out Joe Craddock, who's the current offensive coordinator at Tulane. I don't think that he's going to be considered for that position. Now, he may be, considered for like a position on this team because he does have a relationship with Sumrall. Sumrall, has trust in him, but he's not going to be the coordinator. The other coordinator that we're hearing, Brian Hartline from Ohio State. Now, here's the question. He makes $1.6 million at Ohio State. This guy is incredible. He took Julian Sayin, Lagway should have been 10 times better than Sayin. Just saying. But if you watch the Michigan game, you're seeing a true freshman quarterback look like Tom Brady out there compared to DJ Lagway, who can't even set his feet on a 5-yard throw. It's insane. It's called Brian Hartline, offensive coordinator. He's the best wide receiver recruiter in the country. These wide receivers he gets at Ohio State are insane. Marvin Harrison. You've got Jeremiah Smith, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Jackson Smith, and I can't even say the last name. But anyway, he was incredible. Now, the only thing is, he would definitely want to go and win another national championship at Ohio State, and so we'd have to wait on him. Uh, but it could happen.
I agree. I don't know if he would he really leave Ohio State. That's my thing. He's already getting paid a shit ton.
I've heard he wants to come to the SEC,
Okay.
and after you've been successful at a location, you want to either number two get a head coaching job. The rumor is he doesn't really want to be a head coach right now, but he wants to go to the SEC. And if you can prove that you can take a team who has been absolutely anemic on offense, separate yourself from Ryan Day, because a lot of people still think it's Ryan Day calling the shots up there. If you can separate yourself from Ryan Day, prove that it's you and not him, go to a team that has been trash on offense, you can make a name for yourself and potentially, be a candidate somewhere.
Yeah.
So, that's why his name is showing up. You also got this Shannon Dawson coordinator who's the offensive coordinator in Miami. Now, who the hell knows if this guy will come? But, he's a name on the list. And then the third guy is Mike Shanahan, who's the offensive coordinator at Indiana right now. He's a rising star. Indiana's offense, as you all know, has taken a bunch of 2- and 3-star players and made them look like freaking Percy Harvin out there. These people are running wide open in the Big Ten. Their games in the Big Ten look very similar to when Tennessee played us in Gainesville. It's just immediate touchdown after immediate touchdown, and then the other team can't score or can't even gain a yard. And then the game's over by halftime, and then now they're in the second half, mop-up duty. So this guy's incredible. Now, he also, I think, needs to make a name for himself outside of Cignetti, because a lot of people think it's Kirk Cignetti who's calling all the shots. So maybe there's that. So if we can get any one of these three guys, I would say Shanahan or Hartline, if we can convince them to come to UF, that would be the splash hire that we need as a fan base to shut the hell up about not getting Kiffin. Okay? Because we need to be able to get over this real quick. Now, if it's what's this guy? Dawson at Miami, I mean, he had who's the quarterback before Carson Beck. Just completely losing my mind here, but he did coach these guys. He's a guy who likes to get coordinators or offensive good quarterbacks into the fray from the portal and start up and have an explosive NFL type offense. We'll see what happens. On the defensive side,
Before you get to the defensive side, I just want to say,
yeah.
I don't know why my camera zoomed in like that. I really like Jason Beck. Jason Beck will probably be my pick. What he's done at Utah this past year has been phenomenal. So I really like Jason Beck. He also did a really good job at Syracuse and New Mexico as well. And so I just want to say that he's probably my pick. I think that one's very realistic, and I think he can be a guy that would definitely swing over to the University of Florida. Really fiery offense, really fun to watch. I don't know. That's just a guy to throw in there too.
Nice. Okay. Well, I hadn't heard that one. Anybody else? I mean, there's a lot of offensive coordinators out there that had pretty decent years. I mean, hell, look at Texas Tech, what they're doing, or BYU, for crying out loud. They're the two Big 12 folks.
Cade Bell. Joseph said he heard Cade Bell. I think that's the Pitt offensive coordinator. I don't think Pitt's offense has really been that great these past couple seasons. But I wouldn't like that one personally.
I mean, yeah, they didn't look that great against Miami, but hey, they beat Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that. Gus Malzahn needs a job. Defensive coordinator. Well, I mean, here's the deal. I I do think we need a good defensive coordinator. Um, you know, Bryant Haynes, Indiana's defensive coordinator. We just still both the coordinators from Indiana. Why not? Why the hell not? Um, and then there's Glenn Schumann from Georgia. Now, the thing about Schumann, Georgia's defense has been not really that great this year. I mean, have they looked that good to you? I mean, obviously they're still a good defense, but
No.
they're not like that 2021, 2022 Georgia defense was like no running, no throwing, no passing, nothing. Who I would honestly go out and hire, and I know that he's been sort of thrown off the deep end because of the whole McDonald's bag situation, would be Jeremy Pruitt. Jeremy Pruitt was the head coach at Tennessee. He gave some guys money in a McDonald's bag, and Tennessee fired him because of that. And when they fired him, it was like, well, you gave a Happy Meal to your recruit. Now you can give freaking car dealerships to the recruits. So I'm like, who the hell cares? He was trying to recruit. He's getting his ass beat by Nick Saban. So Jeremy Pruitt was a really good defensive
I
coordinator,
agree. That's a great pick.
he needs a career rehab job right now to come back and rehab his career. He was like a DJ Durkin type of hire. Hell, why don't we get DJ Durkin? He's at Auburn. He was an interim coach. They just got beat by Bama. So that would be my hire, Jeremy Pruitt. But who the hell knows? Bryant Hayes at Indiana. Schumann at Georgia. Does Schumann really want to leave Georgia to come to Florida? I don't know. We'll see.
Pruitt's amazing. That's a great shout, EJ. I think he would definitely be willing to come to University of Florida. I mean, he was at Georgia, Bama. Yeah.
He was at Florida State when they won that 2013 defense.
That was dirty defense,
freaking
bro.
Was dirty. It was Jeremy Pruitt. So
I like it.
He's sitting around doing nothing in Alabama. Go hire him.
Great. Yeah. No, that's a great shout. I'm in agreement with all that, EJ. I know you got to get out of here in a second. Will Muschamp? No, he ain't gonna come back to Florida. He's happy at Georgia.
I got about 15 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, is there any other thing you want to touch on, John Sumrall, before we get into these conference championship picks, EJ? I just think we need to get behind the guy. We can do closing statements. You can go ahead.
Here's the deal. I do think we need to give Sumrall a chance. Let's see how he builds his staff first and foremost. If it's an elite staff with guys who have clearly made some things happen, that is going to be a positive sign. And the whole, labeling him Billy Napier 2.0, I mean, who knows? I'm not going to do that until after the first year. And let's see who he can retain on the current roster. If Jaden Baugh makes a statement in a couple of weeks that I'm returning to Florida, I've talked to Coach Sumrall. Hell, that's good enough for me. Did y'all watch the FSU game? That's one hell of a person to build your entire team around. So let's see who he puts on the staff, where he can get this transition recruiting class ranked, because it's going to be a freaking dog-eat-all world for recruits, because Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia are going to destroy everyone because they've got their coaches, and the rest of us are in shambles. Ole Miss is domestic violence at Ole Miss, the way that Lane Kiffin is treating them. They won't even have a coach. They may not even have a coach during the damn playoffs, which is insane. Well, Golding will probably be the coach, but Ole Miss isn't going to have anyone. Penn State doesn't have anyone. We need to go out there and start recruiting tomorrow.
I agree.
So let's see what Sumrall does. If he can get Jeremy Pruitt, and then who's the other guy that we were talking about, the Indiana offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
If he can get these two guys, I'd rather take that than nothing at all. Now, if he brings the two, Napier who did Napier bring? He brought in the Louisiana coaching staff. That was his problem. I don't think we're gonna have that issue with Sumrall. So that's all I gotta say about that.
Who the hell has Ole Miss? Oh, he's the permanent head coach. Oh, that's crazy. I saw that he was going to be the coach leading into the playoffs. I didn't know he was announced as the permanent head coach. Yeah, that's I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh,
hire.
was that confirmed? That Golding?
Yeah, I guess that was
Yeah,
confirmed.
yeah. So that was the Golding was. Listen, Golding's not a bad coach. I mean, I if I'm Ole Miss, I'd go with that.
Yeah. You said, listen, Lauren. I don't know. If Summer we talked about if Summerall brings either one of the coordinators over to the University of Florida, I'm officially sold out. Like I'm done. I'm going the other way. And I'm not going to be a fan. No staff member left with Lane other than his brother. Oh, that's crazy. But yeah, no. If he brings over one of his coordinators, Summerall from Tulane, I'm out, officially out. I have no trust in him. But he's not going to. He's going to hire 2 brand new coordinators. I can almost guarantee that. So I'm fine. I'm fine with that. But yeah. So point is, kind of just to summarize, I guess, this entire John Summerall thing. I think that this was a good hire, not a great hire, not a bad hire. I think we need to get behind this guy. I think if this hire does not hit, the Gators are in a horrible position. I think that we literally become the Nebraska of the South, and I know what people kind of tried to debate us earlier on that, saying that the brand's still super strong. Not another 4 years of just horrific football. I think that we're literally in a place that it's going to be hard for us to dig ourselves out of. So I think this one has to hit.
How the hell do we hire Todd Golden, who comes in and freaking just kills it, and we can't get the football, and everyone cares about football? Well, I mean, I care about basketball, but what the hell was Todd Golden? He wasn't from a major conference in basketball. Now, I guess I get basketball's different, but hell, I don't know. We can't get it right.
That was the deal breaker with Auburn. Lane Kiffin tried some nasty work. Yeah, no, what Lane Kiffin did I thought that was pretty crazy. And the same thing with Ole Miss, though. I don't know. I mean, I don't, from what I heard, I just feel like if you're Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, work together for the players, man. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just thought that was kind of weird. But yeah, either way, I think that we need to just get behind John Summerall, EJ, and hopefully this one hits. You are rolling the dice a little bit on it for sure, but I think there's a chance that this could really work in the favor of the Florida Gators. So I'm confident. I think he's going to make the playoff second year. That's my final prediction. I think this hire is going to work a lot better than what people think. I truly do believe that. He's a CEO kind of guy. He's going to let his coordinators do his thing, and I think that's what's going to really lead this program to some success. I'm not overly hyped about his recruiting and what he's done in the past, but I do think that the brand itself of the University of Florida, I think it does recruit itself. You're in the state of Florida where there's a shit ton of 5 stars. What EJ said, there's like 40? How many 4 stars or 5 stars in the state of Florida? Something ridiculous every single year.
There's about 60. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
blue chippers.
Blue chippers. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And so you could just recruit right, through your back door. I think this is going to be a really good hire for the Florida Gators. I'm really excited. I do like Summerall. I just don't like that he only has 2 years at Troy, 2 years at Tulane, never built anything. I mean, I guess never built anything long-term, Lauren, but we talked about it earlier, but he did build 2 different programs, and especially with Troy. Troy was 3 5-win seasons in a row before he got there and switched it all around. He took over 2 good teams. Troy was not a good team. Troy was not a good team at all. I think that I think he rebuilt them. Tulane's kind of a different story, but I still think he did a good job with them.
Well, anyways, now we're hearing Blake Baker is a defensive coordinator candidate.
We did hear about that. Yeah, I'm not huge on that.
He's the LSU defensive coordinator. I mean, here's the deal. Summerall's what, 43?
43, yeah.
Yeah, you don't really have that much time to build anything when you're 43. So, I mean, particularly in this day and age, when you've got when I was in college, I was growing up, these coaching tenures were much longer than they are now. We didn't fire coaches after 4. People were coaches for 10 years. And then, okay, maybe you fired them after the 12-year mark. Nowadays, you don't win in 2 or 3 years, you're getting fired. Why? Money. You now have a monetized sport that is generating millions and millions, hundreds of millions in revenue. And who makes the investments to generate that revenue? These boosters, these millionaire, billionaire, whoever these people are. So now these are the people that are calling the shots. And when you have different people calling the shots than what we used to have back in the day with Jeremy Foley, and it's not just us, it's everyone. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Blake Baker, I wouldn't be mad with it, but it wouldn't really be my probably top couple choices. And they did have a really good showing against Arkansas. Oh, I think he had like 3 picks in that secondary. But anyway, that's going to be kind of the final stance on John Sumrall, man. I'm really excited to see what happens, EJ. Let's just, if you have nothing else to say, we can just kind of run through these conference picks real quick for the championship games.
Yeah, this is a huge week in these championship games. And that Alabama-Auburn game, I mean, we got to, I don't know if we're going to talk about that, but that was, Kalen DeBoer would have been a candidate if Auburn would have freaking won that game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that
was
would have been
crazy.
Stupid, dude.
Yeah.
They had it going, and then that little comeback from Auburn there late. I was like, whoa, what's going on? It was insane. Yeah, and then you mentioned it, Texas A&M taking the L, bro. That was wild. I mean, you had it right in front of you.
Where are the Texas A&M fans right now? Because they were giving us shit after we picked them to beat us, by the way.
Yeah.
And you had one job, Texas A&M. You didn't play any of the teams in the top half of the SEC. You finally played one, and you got your ass beat. So now what? So now you got the SEC tiebreaker with Georgia and Alabama rematch. We don't want to see that again.
Crazy.
Well, actually, we do. Whatever makes money for people, that's the game they want to see. Okay, it's Alabama versus Georgia. Are we picking that game? Let's go.
Let's do it, baby. We're gonna start off with the let me see, got over here. The Conference USA Championship. We have Kennesaw State at Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State favored by 1.5, EJ.
I'm going to go with Jacksonville State. They got the better defense. I'll go with them.
I agree. They've been cooking. Next one, we have the Sun Belt Championship. We have Troy at James Madison. James Madison favored by 21.5. Who do you think is going to win this one, EJ?
James Madison's going to murk them. They got the better quarterback, the better defense. This is another one of those embarrassing matchups.
You think that they cover that 25.5?
I don't think they cover, but they're going to win by 14.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I don't think they cover because we're picking spreads here. I agree. I'm going Troy. I think that James Madison probably will win by 21 or by 17, but I don't think they go over that 21 mark. So I'm going Troy. The MAC championship, baby. We got Miami, Ohio at Western Michigan. Western Michigan favored by 2.5.
Give me Western Michigan. Cover.
I'm going Miami, Ohio on that. I like what they're doing there. Next one, we have the American Athletic Conference Championship, North Texas, which is crazy. They're not ranked. They're such a good team. Favored by 2.5 at number 24, Tulane, the Fighting Summeralls.
Listen, I want to pick the Sumralls, the Fighting Summer, because it's our coach. We don't want to see the guy lose. Too many distractions. Plus, North Texas got a better quarterback. Green, what are they called? The green machine?
The mean green.
The mean green. North Texas. They got a good musical program, too, in North Texas. They win.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, I'm going North Texas as well, dude. I think they're so dirty, bro. I love that offense a lot. I'm going North Texas. I do want to pick Tulane, but I agree with the distractions and everything. And I think the North Texas mean green will just be a little too much on the offensive side of the ball. The Mountain West Championship, UNLV at Boise State. Boise State favored by 1.5. I picked this being that we did our little conference championship predictions at the beginning of the year. This was my prediction. And I picked UNLV winning. I got to go Boise State to win this one, though, because Boise State kicked their ass early on in the year. It was like 56-36, something stupid. I think Boise State's going to win this one. It's on the blue field, so I'm going Boise State.
Why the hell isn't Dan Mullen being talked about as a coach of any of these teams?
Arkansas wanted him. I guess he said no.
I wouldn't go to Arkansas if I was him
Me
either.
neither. Who would want to go to Arkansas?
Uh, but hell, that's a great coach if you're Ole Miss. Well, I guess they're getting Pete Golding. But anyway, let me tell you something. Boise State, is this playing at the blue on the blue field?
Oh yeah.
Damn. Okay. UNLV's got the better quarterback. Boise State defense is a little bit too good. Plus, Boise State undefeated at home. Give me Boise State cover 2 points. Very close.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm going Boise State with that run game especially. I think that they're going to get in there, control the clock on UNLV. Next one we have the ACC championship, the 7-5 Duke Blue Devils versus the number 18 Virginia team here. They're Virginia's favored by 2.5. EJ, how you feeling about this one?
Why the hell don't we get who's this guy in Virginia? Tony Elliott. Why the hell he's not a coordinator? Ever since he left Clemson, they've been trash. He's a head coach at Virginia now.
I mean, he was a pretty bad offensive coordinator at Clemson, though. That's why I'm, you know.
Well, they got worse, if you ask me. Duke, Manny Diaz. You don't want to go anywhere, Manny? Cavaliers. But it's really close. They played earlier this year. Virginia was Duke couldn't move the ball. It was like Pop Warner. UVA, Thomas Jefferson, they win it.
Yeah, the 2.5 is a really weird spread. I don't know why it's so close. I don't know. I think Virginia's gonna just really destroy them. Probably by a couple touchdowns. Next one we have the Big 12 championship. The number 11 BYU, the Mormons versus the number 5 Texas Tech. Texas Tech favored by 12.5. EJ.
Why the hell isn't this Tony McGuire guy, Joey McGuire? Who the hell did I say? Joey McGuire, Texas Tech coach. Why the hell isn't he a candidate for somewhere? Listen, they're out here mollywopping people. They haven't had a close game. They lost one game. They lost to Arizona State, Gillingham. We wanted Dillingham. Apparently, no one wants the guy. Anyway, he lost Scatterboo. Now nobody wants him. Joey McGuire's out here mollywopping people by 40 a game. Now, they got a little money in Texas Tech. They bought a roster of $26 million. Maybe that had something to do with it. Hell, why don't we do that? Anyway, Texas Tech's going to mollywop them. BYU's a good team. BYU's a good team. Look at the numbers, people. Quarterback, defense, everything you need at Texas Tech, way better than BYU. They're going to mollywop BYU. Sorry, BYU.
So Texas Tech covers 12.5.
Oh yeah, they're going to cover. Texas Tech, big, real big.
I don't think they do. I mean, look, BYU did go to the Red Raiders early on this season, and Texas Tech I think won 29-7. This is a neutral site now. I got BYU covering. I think Texas Tech wins, probably about 10 points, but I do think BYU keeps it a little bit close in this one and shocks some people. Next one we have the Big Ten Championship, baby. Number 2 Indiana, the Kurt Signettis versus number 1 Ohio State. Number 1 Ohio State favored by 5.5. This is light work for me. Give me Ohio State, man. They're a dirty team, dude. I love that offense. I love what Matt Patricia's doing with that defense, man. The way that they corral whoever has the ball is unbelievable, man. They look like an NFL team out there. I got Ohio State winning and covering that 5.5, EJ. Even though I do want to pick Indiana here, but I can't.
Ugh. Who the hell's gonna win the Heisman? Can we talk about that for 2 seconds? Is it Mendoza from Indiana or Sayin from Ohio State? This is the worst Heisman field we've ever seen. I don't even think anyone wants it. Do you want the Heisman? Give it to Baugh, for crying out loud. He just ran all over FSU. Listen, I like this matchup, but you can't pick Indiana until they actually break through and do something. I got to go Ohio State in this one. I think Ohio State's got little too good of a defense. And I think their offense is powered enough to have the advantage on Indiana. Give me Ohio State to cover. I like them by 10. Buckeyes back to back.
There you go. I'm with you there. That's a really good pick. Next one we have the SEC Championship. Once again, the number 4
Oh,
Georgia
hell.
Bulldogs favored by 1.5 versus number 10 Alabama in the Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, my second home. EJ, let's hear it, brother.
You know, guys, your heart and your head are very different on these two games, on these two teams. Georgia is cursed. They can't beat Alabama to save their life, no matter who the hell the coach is. I picked Georgia to win earlier this year. Alabama went in there and mollywopped them. Now, normally I would say, well, this is, Georgia, Atlanta, their home team. If you've ever been to an SEC championship game, Alabama fans are there more than anybody. It's going to be 50-50 at best. And plus, if you're an Alabama or Georgia fan, this is what I want to know. How the hell do you afford to go to the postseason? As a Florida fan, I don't think we've taken that into account since we haven't done anything in 20 years. Nowadays, you got to go to it. You got to pay to go to Atlanta. Then you got to pay to go to 4 playoff games. Who the hell has that? You got to be Gary to afford to go to the postseason. Listen, Alabama, I think, was not really prepared for. I think they were preparing for their SEC championship game. Heart tells me that Georgia is going to win this game. So I'm going to go with Georgia. But I would not be surprised at all if Alabama somehow ball bounced off a helmet, off of Gunnar Stockton's head into a Alabama touchdown, and they won and continued the curse. But for some reason, I think Kirby Smart's gotten a little something figured out, and Gunnar Stockton is a winner. People don't understand that. You need a winner. Lagway he's just not he's not a winner. If Baugh can't run the ball, is he going to win you the game? No. Stockton is going to figure it out and make it happen. Georgia, upset, very close. Field goal at the end, 27-24. Dogs, very close, very close. Back and forth.
Yep. I'm gonna go Alabama here, dude. Listen, they're my preseason national championship, team. I got to stick with my boys here, man. I'm going Bama. Look, dude, this Georgia team's a little overrated in my opinion. They should have lost like 2. Yeah, we're gonna get into I'll get into the GM thing in a second. They should have lost 2 more games this season, EJ, and they didn't. And so I got to go Bama here, dude. I think Bama is gonna win this game. I don't think it's gonna be a crazy win. I could see a 27-20 type win again for Bama, but I do have them getting the dub here, man. So. Let's, I guess, roll tide for this, man. Let's see what happens there. Last week, we both went 5-5. All-time, EJ is 85-56. I'm 82-59. So I need to get, hopefully, some. I think we kind of picked together for most of the picks here, except for 2. So hopefully, my boys lock in there for me.
We got to do the bowls, too. We got to do the bowls, the playoffs.
Yeah. We got bowls and playoffs. We do got bowls. Hopefully, something might still happen. A couple things here, EJ, before we go. I know you got to get out of here. We did hire a new GM as well. He's the former Jacksonville Jaguars GM, David Caldwell. He was not great in Jacksonville, so a lot of Jaguar fans Gator fans aren't happy about it. He's been with the Philadelphia Eagles now in their front office for the past 5 seasons when they've obviously won the Super Bowl. I don't think this, look, I don't really know much about who I think I would want as a GM personally. I'm not really super invested in that, but I will say this guy seems like he has an eye for talent. Was not great as a GM, though, in the NFL, so we'll see.
Well, let's just talk about this for a second, folks, because this is a new position. Urban Meyer has been pushing all the hires. Now, the rumor is he was on the phone every 5 minutes telling whoever it was at Florida that they need to hire Sumrall because Kiffin wasn't coming. So there's that. Meyer was also at the Jaguars for a little bit and knew this guy. So does that have anything to do with this guy getting hired? Maybe. Who the hell knows? The only thing we know is what is the job description for a general manager in college football? Okay. And this is a new position pretty much the last couple of years for all these programs. Presumably, if you have a really good one, the coach just focuses on coaching and you get them the players. So that's basically what this guy needs to be doing. Salary cap management. So you know that we've got revenue share and NIL are different things. We got a $20 million NIL budget. No one's ever released how much we actually are putting into NIL. It could be whatever we want for all the hell we know. But how much are we putting in the NIL? You're saving $10 million a year by not hiring Kiffin. So hopefully we give this guy some more money and go do something with it. He does the contract negotiations with all the NIL deals with all the players. He doesn't do them all, but he oversees the process. That's one job description. Transfer portal evaluation. Scouting and evaluating all the positions that of all the players that are in the transfer portal. There's going to be 2,000 people in the transfer portal. He's got to oversee a process to number 1, number 2, number 3, all the position groups, what our need are, send it over to Sumrall. Who are we going to get? Roster management. He helps with the roster management because, the roster management is absolutely a disaster in college football right now. I don't know how these people do it. First of all, it's not like the good old days when we were winning championships where we could hoard all the talent through the recruiting. We had number 1 classes with Meyer. And then, oh, by the way, you can't transfer anywhere. Once you come to us, you can't transfer anywhere. But now 50% roster turnover is like the average. So you got to have a good roster to have a chance. And that starts with having a good quarterback, as we all can see. A guy who knows how to throw the ball on time and on target and set his feet. And a wide receiver room where the whole wide receiver room isn't injured. That would be nice. Draft and recruiting, recruiting strategy, revenue share compliance, and then player retention. So these are the other elements of the GM. So one of the things that we know is that Billy Napier tried to do everything himself. We did have a GM, but Napier was just too involved in everything that he couldn't focus on, do we have 11 guys on the punt block? Okay, kick return. Who the hell's going to be the special team coordinator? That's what I want to know. The only thing that's been good about our special teams the last 3 years has been Trey Smack kicking 54-yard field goals. If we can block, we did block a kick this year. That was the Texas game. We probably all forgot about that. That was a shocker. But anyway, if we can actually have special teams be special for once, we block a kick and we won that game. That's what Urban Meyer used to always say. Block a kick, win the game. We hadn't blocked a kick since, not counting that game, probably since Urban Meyer was here. Actually, I did see a replay. We played Louisiana was it the McElwain or Muschamp era? And they were beating the hell out of us. And then we had to block a kick on the last play of the game to win it. Do you remember that, Logan?
No, I do not.
You don't remember that? I think it was 2014, 20, something like that.
Okay.
We're playing Louisiana. The game is tied. Or was it Jacksonville? I don't remember. We had to block a punt, and the linebacker ran it back for us to win. This is the last play of the game. It's crazy.
Jesus.
So that's the deal with this GM guy, Caldwell. 51 years old. He was with the Eagles. He was the general manager of the Jaguars. 30 years experience in the NFL. The only thing I want to know is, why the hell aren't you staying in the NFL? Like, what is so appealing about college that's luring you in? Usually it's maybe you didn't cut it in the NFL. I don't know. But if you were with the Eagles, maybe, you know a little something about roster management.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. So that one, we'll see what happens there. But overall, that's going to be the episode for today, man. Listen, I know a lot of you Gator fans, like I said, we're all a little skeptical for sure. But I'm really excited about this hire. And I've seen a few I'm only 21 years old, and I've seen quite a bit of new hires at University of Florida. And I am very, very excited for this one. I was a little hesitant on Billy Napier. I was pretty excited for Mullen. But I think this hire is going to go a lot better than what people think. And if you are skeptical and you are a little nervous about it and aren't happy with it, all I'm going to say is just get behind this guy. We need this hire to work out, even if you're not excited about it. And I think if you just get behind him, man, show him love and cheer him on for the University of Florida, for the organization, I think some great things will happen. I truly do believe that. So that's going to be the episode for today, man. We really do appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys again next week, diving into hopefully we got some, we'll know, number one, if he's going to make the playoff, most likely, with obviously with Tulane, and number two, hopefully we get some offensive coordinator buzz going into that transfer portal week. So we appreciate you guys watching this. We'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your Sunday, man. Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge.